Hi folks, this is Ken Ivey, and I've got to apologize for the technical difficulties we were having earlier today. We had some server issues, Google was having some video issues, and so the live hangout just didn't work anything like we planned. So we had sent you the right link to the webinar page, but for whatever reason it just wasn't jiving with the video, and when I did send a link to a direct video, I had some audio issues. So basically Murphy showed up and everything that could go wrong, technically speaking, did go wrong. And so I'm recording this after the fact. Hope that this is worthwhile to you. I really didn't get any questions, but I'm going to again offer you the opportunity after we're done here to send me some questions, and at this point I will probably answer them directly to you in an email, or we might post them at the video location as well. But hopefully these issues will be solved before the next webinar and Google will get their stuff together. All right, so let's get started. We're talking about how to optimize your search engine listings. We'll talk a little bit about ranking factors, but we're going to focus primarily on the search engine listings themselves, because that's typically what pops up first when people are looking at your business. And so I'll show you what that looks like and some things we need to look out for and some things that will really help your business get noticed online. Okay, so what are search engines looking for? Relevant content. We've talked about that before. So what does that mean? Relevant to what? Well, it's relevant to the search term the person who is searching is using. So for instance, let's say I'm having auto problems. My car is broken down. I might search for an auto shop or auto repair shop, or I might search for auto repair shop in Manitowoc or in Milwaukee or wherever I am. Now the search engines for geo-targeting, and what I mean by that is giving you results based on where you are, do a fairly good job of dishing up these results based on the IP address that you're logged in at. So if your computer at home is on and you're doing a search there, you might get a little bit different results than if you're searching on your mobile phone when you're halfway to La Crosse, Wisconsin. So where you are sometimes matters as well. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. But relevant content means things that is related to what search term was used. So for auto repair, it's going to try and show me auto repair shops. It's going to possibly dish up some auto repair videos, auto repair directories, some things of that nature. So whatever I type in, creating relevant content for your target market's search habits is a great way to be found on the web. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later. Predominance on the web. Citation sites and links. So predominance on the web means how many different places can both people and search engines find you online. Now a lot of times they'll find you at citation sites, and citation sites are things like Google My Business, Yahoo Local, Bing Business, or what do they call it, Bing Local Maps or something like that. It could be places like local directories, and one great citation site that I keep talking about and harping on because it's such a great site is your local Chamber of Commerce site. The search engines give high authority to Chamber of Commerce sites, so make sure your information correctly displays in that directory as well. And then also links from other sites to your site. So you might be a guest blogger on, let's say, an industry website, and you would link back to your website from there using the key phrases that you're targeting, and those are the ones that your best clients are using to find you. Also, social signals. More and more importance as every day passes. As we get more and more social websites, social apps, all of these things are being gathered and collated and looked at by the search engines and their mathematical algorithms to see what is popular, to see what people are talking about, to see what's in the news. All of these things make a difference in where you end up in a search engine ranking. So we're going to move forward and talk about some of that geo-targeted stuff I was talking about before. Now, for most of you, this is just basic stuff. If you've got a storefront, you really don't need to worry so much about being found in the next state across. However, I've got some clients right here in town who do some business both locally and online via sites like eBay and stuff like that. Clipper City Trains comes to mind. They have clients driving in from all over the place. I just got a message from Judy over there not too long ago where someone I think had driven from Missouri or something like that to come and buy up a bunch of their model train stuff. So you certainly want to be found for those who are most likely to use your services or buy your products, but it doesn't hurt to be found in regions that are adjacent to you or even nationwide if you've got a big enough audience. So if you're going back to that auto repair thing, if my car broke down in my driveway, I might search for Manitowoc Auto Repair because that's what I'm looking for, an auto repair shop in Manitowoc. I don't want to have to take my car or have it towed out of town or something like that. So, like I say, common sense. There are tools to help you find out which keywords you might consider using. And the Google Keyword Planner is one of those tools, and I'm going to give you a basic overview of how that works. And then also looking at what your competitors are doing is a great way to find out maybe some keywords that you haven't thought of before or ones that you know must be bringing in some money, otherwise they wouldn't be targeting. So let's take a look at those. Okay, so here's the Google Keyword Planner. And you find this by just typing in Google, the words Google Keyword Planner. And so when you do that, the search is going to direct you to a link to AdWords. So you click on that, and if you have a Google account, it's going to be really easy to set up. If you don't have a Google account, you'll have to set one up pretty quickly in order to make the best use of this. But it's a tool for people who use AdWords or buy ads via Google for them to plan their keyword use. But Google doesn't mind you using it. Even if you're not going to buy an ad today, you might buy an ad someday in the future. Until then, you can use the Keyword Planner to do your, what I would call, organic search planning, and that is non-paid search. So what you want to do is, once you get to the Google Keyword Planner, type in your product or service. Now in this case, we've just typed in brewery. And then you would click Get Ideas. Now, when you first do that, when you first click Get Ideas, it's going to default to this Ad Group Ideas. Now, you really don't care about Ad Group Ideas. What you want are the keyword ideas. And you'll notice here that we haven't specified any target locations or anything like that over on this side. Well, we'll do that later. Right now, we're looking for the biggest pool of the most popular keywords that we think might be related to our product or service. And so for brewery, we're looking at beer making kits, beer making supplies, Guinness Brewery, beer making kit, brewery equipment. As you can see, it's got quite a few keywords here suggested. Each of them have different amounts of monthly search, different amounts of competition, and different value, if you will. If you were to buy an ad, it's suggesting that you spend 92 cents per click on this particular one, $1.38 for that one, and that will get you higher in. That'll get you higher in the paid ad placement. So you know those ads on the side of your search. You can bid for the top placement, or you can bid less, spend less money, and get lesser placement in that return. So let's take a look here. We got beer making kits gets 2,400 average monthly searches, and this is minimally nationwide, but more than likely worldwide. And I say worldwide because there's more than one country that uses the English language. And then we also have beer making kit, very close to this. The only difference is this is plural. Beer making kit has 14,800. So if I only wanted to pick one of these two phrases, and the competition is the same on both, it's pretty easy for me to decide, hey, I think I'm going to go after the singular version because it gets many, many, many more searches. So I would pick beer making kit as one of the target keywords. You can also, while you're in here, you can click these categories and sort them by that. So you could always have the top ones up here and lesser ones, way down here on multiple pages. You can also sort it by competition. So you could go after, it's like high competition words can be harder to rank for than lower competition words. So it may be that if you've got something with tons and tons of search, that it'll take you a long time to get ranked number one for that. So you might consider taking something with a little less competition, getting ranked for that, getting that traffic, and then going after some of the higher traffic words. But take all that into consideration. Once you've picked your 2 or 3 top key phrases, then come over here to targeting and click that. And you can narrow the targeting down to neighborhoods in some cases. But you definitely want to target, especially if you're retail or you have a service area, that particular area. So for the car repair shop, they would probably want to best spend their money within a 10, 15 mile radius of wherever they are. So they would type in either Manitowoc City or Manitowoc County or something like that. And this is kind of planning. Once you do that, once you specify a location, these searches are going to change because it's only going to show you searches from that geographical area. So you may not have 14,800 searches in Manitowoc, although I've been told that there are plenty of beer drinking people here. You might get more than you imagine. But anyway, you'll have a better idea. And these numbers here, they aren't exact. There's not exactly 14,800. And if you narrow it down to Manitowoc, you may see some that are less than 100 monthly searches. You might see some that are only like 10 or 15 monthly searches. Again, these are close. They're not exact. So if I had a keyword and there were only a few of them and they only had 10, I would probably still go after those, because if I can get number one for 4 or 5 keywords that have 10 monthly searches, more than likely they're going to visit my site. And if my site impresses them, more than likely they're going to try and do business with me. So that's the key. Use what people are searching for. I've got a story. An auto repair guy in Tennessee did a lot of oil changes and was looking to make some more business. And so he wanted to get ranked for oil change and then the city name. So I did a little bit of research, just like I'm doing right now. And I typed it in, and it turns out that oil change coupon got like 4 times the traffic that he had been getting. So I said, well, why don't we create some content for oil change coupon? And then we'll actually, offer a coupon. He was doing a coupon in the paper anyway. So we just created a page, and we would update it occasionally. Oil change coupon, and make sure that we got ranked for that. And he got a lot more traffic and a lot more business. So he went from having a backlog of 2 or 3 days to having a backlog of 2 to 3 weeks, which was great for him. And so that's what you want to do. You want to use what people are actually searching for, and the search engines are telling you right here. They're telling you which ones you should target. Now, there are a whole lot more tools than just the Google Keyword Planner, but this is a great place to get started. So another place you can find keywords is their source code for their website. And this may sound complicated, but it's really not if you think about it. Now, how you get to view the source of your competitor's web page differs depending on which browser you're using. For instance, I'm using an Apple computer and using the Chrome browser. You might have a Windows computer and using the new Edge browser, or you might be using Internet Explorer or Firefox or Safari or any number of different browsers. But typically speaking, if you click on View in your browser, it might even say Source down here. But in this case, it says View, and then I have to scroll down Developer and then see View Source. And so I open up the web page, I do a search for auto repair shops in Manitowoc, Wisconsin, because I want to find out what my competitors are using. So I do that, and then I click View Source right here. And so when I do that, I end up with this, which is a bunch of gobbledygook to most people, but it means something to people who are coding websites. In any event, you can look for this meta name equals keywords, and meta name equals description and find out some of the things they might be targeting. For instance, Satori's Auto was #1 for this particular search that I did. So in opening up their page, I can see that the keywords they're wanting to get found for are definitely their brand. They want to get found for their brand. And then oil change, brakes, brake repair. See, that's not surprising to me because oil change is a great way to get somebody in, especially a new client who doesn't normally take their car to you. If you can offer a good oil change at a fair price, that'll bring it in. So oil change, brakes, a ton of people do brakes. Brake repair, auto care, auto repair, and they go on and on and on and on. And so you can see from here, these are the kind of keywords Satori's is using. And if Satori's is #1 and I want to be #1, I might consider using some of these keywords because we're probably looking for some of the same customers. So for SEO, for getting found in the search engines, what do you got to do? First, you need to have strong on-page SEO, and SEO stands for Search Engine Optimization. And on-page is on your website. That's what it means. It's local to you. You have control over that. Okay? So you can create a page, and in this case we were talking about auto repair. So if you create a page called Auto Repair Manitowoc or Manitowoc Auto Repair Experts or whatever like that, this will help in where you get found in the search engines and also for your search engine listings. If you have a lot of related content for what you're trying to be found for in the search engine listings, then you're going to be a lot better off than someone who never updates their site or anything like that. So create a page for some of the keywords you want to get found for, and then create some content. So it might be an article, it might be a video, it might be any number of different things that you want to do online. But if you're going to create an article or a blog post or something of that nature, some of the things you can do to have strong on-page SEO is you can make sure that your key phrase is in the title of the page. You can make sure that your key phrase is found at least once or twice in the article itself. Now, don't make the mistake, and we talked about this before, don't make the mistake of saturating your article with this key phrase, thinking that that's going to help you, because actually that'll hurt you. The search engines are onto that. That's been an old trick for many, many years, and they're not having it anymore. If you try and spam the search engines, they're going to spank you. So just don't do it. All right, so having your key phrase in, say, the first paragraph, maybe the first sentence of the first paragraph is going to help. And then probably in the last paragraph, that's going to help. And having it bolded or emphasized in some way with italics or something, or underlined or something like that, that also helps with on-page SEO. If you can have that keyword or key phrase in a heading tag, and if you're not familiar with creating online content, you may not understand what I'm talking about. So think of it this way. In a word processor, you might have different chapters of your book or different sections of a paper you're writing. And so you might have section headings. And so this is what we're talking about. The same thing with web stuff. So a heading, a top bill heading, an H1 is the largest and heading that is the most relevant. An H2 heading is a little bit less relevant. H3 is a little bit less relevant. But if you can have your key phrase in a heading tag on your web page, that's a very strong signal that your web page is about whatever that heading says. So that's a good thing to do. Also, having images on your page with the name of the key phrase. So if you're an auto repair shop, you might have a page or a picture on your page that is named Auto Repair Manitowoc. And maybe some of the information in that image has Auto Repair Manitowoc in it. We'll talk about a little bit more about that later. External SEO, link building. These are things that you really don't have a lot of control over. These are people or websites that have found your site or your article and say, hey, that's pretty cool. I'm going to link to it. And then they link to it using the key phrase that you would like. So if I were an auto repair shop, I would want people to use a link to my site that either has my business name in it or has Manitowoc Auto Repair Shop, rather than something that says click here or something like that, nondescript. Now, you don't want to have tons and tons of links that all say the same thing, That again is another signal to the search engines that you're trying to spam them or you're trying to cheat in some way. And we don't want that. We want a bunch of natural links. So what's a great way to get links? Creating good content. If you create a good article, if you create a great video, share it on your social media channels, tell everybody you know about it, send it to them in an email or maybe a newsletter or something like that, that's going to draw other people to it. They're going to go and read it, and they're going to like it, and when they do, especially if it's really good stuff, they're going to share it. I mean, think about all the viral posts and stuff you see on Facebook or Google Plus or any of these social media sites. Pinterest, I mean, a lot of pictures and images on Pinterest. All of these things, when you see something cool, your inclination is to share that with other people because it's cool. And if you create great content, a lot of people will be more prone to share that than if it's just something that you generate for the search engines. You really want to get people interested in your product or your service and tell the story. So if you have a good outcome with somebody you've serviced, tell the story and make that a blog post or make that an article. Citations, uber important, which means really, really, really super duper incredibly important. Okay, what is a citation? A citation is your business name, your business phone number, and your business address. You really want to get that right, okay? So you're thinking right now, okay, well, I know what my business name is. I know what my business address is. That's pretty simple for me. But if you do a search for your business right now, it could be that somebody along the line has got it wrong. That one of these directories has scraped information from other websites and has twisted the address, or maybe has a wrong phone number, or maybe says, ABC Auto Repair LLC instead of Inc. Those tiny little differences, suite number 3 versus no suite at all. Those little differences make a big difference in where you end up in the search engines, especially your search engine listings. So we'll talk about it in depth a little bit later, and then I think the next webinar we'll talk about that greatly too. Social media, very important. So what they're talking about now, all the buzzwords are social signals. I love my industry because they create these new buzzwords. About every other month, there's something new that comes out so they can try and sell it to somebody. As you know, I'm kind of laid back. I don't play that game. I try and figure out what works and educate you on that. But social media, social buzz is very important these days because search engines are looking not only about what's on your page and who's linking to your page. They're also looking at who's talking about your page and what are they saying. So links and mentions from Twitter and Facebook and Pinterest and all of these different social media sites are getting more and more important. They play a bigger role. Now, none of these things really is going to do the trick for you by itself. It's a combination of all of these different things we're talking about and will talk about in future webinars that will really bring it together and give you a strong online presence. But a lot of people say, I don't have time for social media. We're going to have to make some time. Now, you don't have to spend a ton of time. And I'll show you some tricks later on how you can get your information out on social media and not spend, an hour and a half every day doing it. I know a lot of people spend a lot of time on Facebook, and after they do that, they really don't feel like promoting their site or their information or their blog or whatever. But there are ways to do it where you don't have to spend all day on social media. And I'll show you those tricks. Okay, so for search engine listings, there's really different types of listings. Some I talk about are auto-generated listings, and I mentioned that briefly before. That's where one listing service or directory has scraped information from another. So they're basically just copying it, and then somebody else copies that, and somebody else copies that. So if your information is right, that's great. If it's wrong, that's not so great, because then you got to fix it. So with an auto-generated listing, you may have found, especially if you've gone to create a new Facebook page or something like that, that they have created one for you. Or maybe Google has created a Google My Business site for you. And then you have to say, okay, well, this is my information, but I don't have an account. I don't know how to get into this. And that's what we would call an unverified account. So for unverified, you're probably going to have to click a link that says something like, is this your business? And then go through that process where you give them some information about your business, and then they verify that information by sending you a postcard to your business address or giving you a phone call and sending a code over your business phone, which you would then plug into the website to verify that you are who you say you are. Now, why does that matter? Well, think about it. If you have a competitor in town who verifies your business and takes your listing, then you're going to have to fight them to get it back and go through a big legal thing, and it's not fun. It very rarely happens because they have these safeguards in place. But it's not fun to try and have to fight for your listing. So if it's unverified, go ahead and go through the process of verification. And if it is verified, all you need is to get your email or login so that you can edit your listings. And so a lot of people I've found have employees who have set up a listing in Google or Yahoo or Bing or something like that, and then that employee has left. And so you have to go through the process of trying to reclaim that. And it can be a bit of a chore, but it's well worth the effort because you want to have control of your message. I preach this all the time. Don't let another advertising agency or medium own your stuff. You need to own it. You need to have that Google login. You need to have your own Bing login. Nobody else needs to manage that for you unless you really, really trust them, because bad things can happen, and they do happen all the time. All right, let's talk about duplicate listings. If you type in your business name in the search engine and you see that you've got 2 or 3 listings, and it's from the same place. Now, I'm not talking about a listing in Google, a listing in Bing, a listing in Yahoo, a listing in City Search. That's great. You really want all that. But if you have 2 Google listings or 2 Yahoo or 2 City Search, because they have scraped or some other error had been made, then you can have problems. Problems because your clients can get confused, but other problems because the search engines get confused. And so they could view one of these listings as a spam listing and give it some sort of lesser prominence in the search engines. Or what normally happens is it gets split. Any traffic that goes to these things is split amongst those 2 things. One which may have the right phone number, one which may have the wrong phone number. And so you're losing out on that traffic. So with duplicates, you want to claim the one that's correct, or if they're both quasi-correct, you want to claim the one that has the most visibility. And then you would report the other one as being a duplicate and go through that process. So that way, all of the traffic goes to you. Then, of course, manually creating a new listing. So if you don't have a listing and there's not one that's been auto-generated for you, you're going to have to go through the process of manually creating one. And so you would go to Google My Business, or you would go to Bing Local or Yahoo Local and create that new listing. And we'll kind of walk through that a little bit. Okay, so when you do a search for your business under the category, name, address, and phone number, you're going to find that you probably do have a listing or one's been created for you. So if it is listed, go ahead and claim it or log in if it's already claimed. If it's not listed, go ahead and create one. And we're going to walk through what that looks like. So your local listings. This is generally speaking among all directories that you might make a listing for. Be as complete as possible. If they have 10 fields, fill them all in. If they have 50 fields, fill them in as much as it makes sense to. Also, for photos and videos, a lot of these directories will let you upload photos and videos. Geotag them if possible. And what I mean by geotag is we want to tell the search engines that this media is all about whatever key phrase you're trying to get ranked for. So if you have a photo of your office or something like that, you might name it Manitowoc Auto Repair .jpeg, or if it's a video, Manitowoc Auto Repair .mp4, or whatever the case may be. And that's going to tell the search engines when you upload them, hey, this video might be about this particular key phrase. You can also use EXIF or metadata. So that's usually stuff you don't see. You usually have to have special software to put that, but you can do a quick search for EXIF or meta. and find software that does that, or maybe if you've got a camera that came with software, your software automatically does that. So when you upload your photo, it asks you, where was it taken? What's the description of this photo? Make sure you include in that information your location information as well as your key phrase information. So if I had a photo called autorepairmanitowoc.jpg, in the EXIF data, I would probably have in the location Manitowoc or Manitowoc County, and in the description type stuff, Manitowoc Auto Repair, Manitowoc Oil Change, things of that nature. And that's going to help identify that media as something that is related to this area and this key phrase. Also, in the descriptions of your business, use your keyword in that description, but like I said, don't oversaturate. Don't use it over and over and over again. You want it to make sense to the computer and the search engines and the robots and the spiders, but you also want to make sure it makes sense to people. So you don't want to confuse people by rephrasing and twisting and using the same keyword over and over and over. It just doesn't make sense. People don't like that. And if they see that, they're going to say, okay, this listing was made for search engines, not people, and it's not the kind of people I want to deal with. So they're just going to move on. Also, additional information. A lot of times you'll have a place where you can write an essay if you want to in some of these directories. So make use of that. If you have a short article or maybe an About Us page information, you can copy and paste that stuff into things like that just to give you that much more visibility and for the search engine to find something else. Oh, if you're a venue, a hotel, a restaurant, if you're a sizable operation, consider using Google Business View. Now, what Google Business View is, it's basically a walkthrough of your business, a virtual tour of sorts. You can have photographers show up at your place. They'll take pictures of the outside and inside, and they'll create this product for Google so that when people come to your page, they can take that virtual tour. They can walk through. So if they're planning a wedding or something like that, or they're planning a big get-together at a restaurant, they can say, okay, this place is exactly what I'm looking for. Now, I've done similar things like that for Bing, and I looked into doing it for Google, but Google had some terms of service that I really didn't want to pin myself to. They had like a minimum fee that I had to charge for this service, and I felt, number one, it wasn't their place to tell me what I got to charge, but I understand they're protecting the market. But it could be a great investment for you, especially if you're a hotel or restaurant or something like that. So the people that can do that here in Manitowoc County are the HTR. So contact Lowell Johnson there. Just go to HTR and ask for Lowell. Pick up the phone. He will be able to tell you what needs to happen in order to get that process started. But the reason I mention that is not just to have a gratuitous tour of your business. I mention that because right now, and I'm not sure how long it'll last, but right now, Google is giving precedence to businesses that have that business view feature. So we want to take advantage of every possible thing that we can. So I'm advising you that if you have the marketing budget for that, take a look at that. That's something you might want to do. Okay, so doing a business listing. This is Google. I'm just going to walk through one really briefly and show you how easy it is, really. So once you go through and you look at your business listing, it's going to look something like this. And this is for Google. Bing's a little bit different. Yahoo's a little bit different. Same basic steps, though. So they'll give you a page, and you're going to end up clicking Edit. This one has information already. That's because it's an existing one. You can see that it's verified here. So once you would click Edit, you'd come to something like this. And this has all the different places where you can put in your information. So you would just click here and then type in your phone number, your website URL. And it walks you through. It's really super easy. It walks you through all the different things. And they have spots for, what kind of payments you take, photos, things of that nature. There's all kinds of things you can add to these business listings, and I would encourage you to do so. Okay, so this is where it ends up. So this is what your business listing would look like when you do a search for your business. And then right here is the Google Plus information, basically, that Google My Business, they're calling it now. So it's got your address, your phone number, your business name, your website. And then over here it shows that above the paid search results as well. So people would click right here to get more information. It might show your pictures and other stuff too. Also, this is kind of a ninja thing I use for certain clients for whom it makes sense. And people like doctors and dentists and lawyers, contractors, people for who their client acquisition cost is rather high, they would use something like this. As you can see, of course, this stands out because I got a red box around it. This stands out because I got a red box about it. But if you came to this search page, what's the thing that would really pop for you? It's probably going to be these videos. They got the little video thumbnails, and it has the company name, and it's talking about 5-star, and of course we're looking at 5-star reviews. So this is something that jumps out. They basically own this page because they've got so much media on it. And if you scroll down, you see that they have directory listings. They have their website down there again. But this is a great way to really impress someone. And I always tell the story of referrals. People may not always find you initially online. They might find you at the golf course. So if you can imagine two people at the golf course, and one guy says to another player, hey, I really need a family dentist. Who do you recommend? And this other person says, I recommend Roswell Family Dental Care. They do a great job for me. I don't have their phone number, but just look them up online. And so when they go back and they look up Roswell Family Dental Care, this is what they find. So they're just looking for a phone number initially. So they get their phone number, and then when they're looking there, they're also seeing this, 5-star reviews in video form. And so maybe they'll click and see one. Maybe they won't. Maybe it's enough that they just have that psychological back door that says, hey, these must be great people because everybody is leaving great reviews about them. And so they pick up the phone. It's just another way to get people to do what you want them to do, which is, call you and make an appointment, or come and visit your site, or knock on your front door, or whatever the case may be. You really want to encourage them to do that and use social proof in order to make that easier for them. Okay, so Google, the 800-pound gorilla. Google is the biggest, baddest search engine, and you really want to make sure that your directory listing there is right. So when you go to Google, make sure that your name, address, and phone is saved somewhere in a text file, like in a notepad file, so you can use this later. I'm going to go back to this. And so you can see that their name is Roswell Family Dental Care. Their phone number is right here. Their address is right here. You want to use this information exactly as it is in Google and throw that into a text file so you can use it later for other directories. And you want to use it, make sure it's the same in every directory you post to. Because when the search engines are looking for someone based on a key phrase or based on your business name, they want that information to be all the same, and you don't want to take the chance that they're going to create duplicate listings or get the wrong business. You want to make sure that, it's critically important. Make sure your name, your business name, address, and phone number are correct, and use that same format everywhere. Okay, adding photos. This is kind of important too. Photos and videos of your business. We said before, when you're filling out these directory listings, you want to fill them out as completely as possible. Now, Google allows you, and actually wants you, to post photos in different categories. So your identity, your logo, your branding, things of that nature, you want to post in that category. Exterior, so the exterior of your storefront. Even if you're not a retail business, even if you're, let's say, a financial services agent or something like that, you want to take a picture of your exterior. It helps people kind of match what they see online, so when they're pulling up and parking that they've got the right place. Plus, it's another opportunity for you to geotag a photo and upload it online. So do that. Make sure that your photos are descriptive. So you might say, storefront, Joe's Financial Services, Manitowoc.jpg. Maybe that's the name of it. Okay, and the interior, the same thing. And a lot of people get really picky about this. I need new drapes, and I need the carpet cleaned and stuff like that. Don't worry so much about that. Just get some pictures of the interior place. Product pictures, if you have a product rather than a service. Team pictures, so who are the people going to be working with? That's important as well. So getting their names, and again, keeping this geotagging stuff in there. And then additional, there are places for photos that really don't fit into any of the above categories. Make sure that you plug them in there. And as many photos as you have. Now, don't spend 3 days collecting photos, but get a good assortment of photos and make sure you upload those online. And then complete your profile. I'm going to go back again to this one. Let's see, does it say there? No, it said on the top of this photo, it said, congratulations, your profile is 100% complete. You can't see that, but that's what it tells you when your profile is complete. Now, you don't have to do that all at one sitting. You could get most of it done and then come back and do some more later. You can always go in and edit your listing, but you want it to be as complete as possible from the get-go. And then you want to start posting on Google+. Remember, Google owns their little social network. So Google Plus is a good place to post updates. Now you're probably thinking, man, I don't have enough time for another social media thing. And that's okay. You don't have to post every day or 10 times a day. Post once a week, post once a month. As long as you're consistent, that's what counts. They want to see activity on your listing. And the more activity you have, the better off it's going to be for you. So you'll see on your page, let's see, it's actually, if you scroll down a little bit more, yeah, I can't see it from here. But if you scroll down on that, and I don't have it live, there's a place for you to post little status updates, kind of like Twitter. Okay, Bing Places for Business. If you have a listing there, great, log in and make some changes just like we did in Google. If you don't, then type Bing Places for Business in Google, or Bing, whatever you use. I use Google. And then it's going to give you the link to this. And so you'll end up on a page that looks kind of like that. And it says Get Started. It's really easy to do. You search for your business. If it's there, you'll claim it and verify it. If it's not, you're going to add it. And use the information from Notepad. It's got to be exact. You want these things to match in order to have the best placement in the search engines. And so all the information you put in Google, you can also put in Bing. Use the same photos you just use in Google. We want to make this easy. We don't want to, try and reinvent the wheel 16 times. Use the same photos. Okay, so optimizing Bing is just the same thing as optimizing Google. You want to complete every field that you can and use a comprehensive description. You can use your keywords and location in your business description, so do that. Make sure you add your hours of operation. That's important. I've mentioned it before, but let's do it again. You want your hours of operation to be correct and the same across all of these channels, because when people do a search and they find your listing, typically it'll say something like closes in 4 hours or open until 7 or something like that. Different sites have different ways of doing it, but they'll tell you whether you're open or not. And so you want to make sure that's correct. And you can also, for Bing, use brands and professional organizations for industry terms. So if you're a plumber, you might belong to the Wisconsin Associated Plumbers Union or something like that. You can put that information in Bing. Yahoo Local, much the same as the others. Search for your local basic listing. Now local is a little bit different. So if you search for Yahoo Local, it's going to take you to a page that looks like this. And what it's going to try and do is steer you toward their paid product. And that's okay. If you've got $30 a month that you're not using right now, go ahead and do that. Sign up for Yahoo Local Works and do all that stuff. But for right now, if you don't have $30 or you don't feel like it, search for the free one. If you scroll down on this page, you'll see the basic listing. That's really what you want. And so, again, fill out all those fields as completely as possible. And then once you have that done, you're going to have Google, Yahoo, and Bing, the top 3 search engines, optimized. Now, I know this is post-event, okay? This is not a live event, but if you have any questions on anything we've talked about thus far, please send them to me at ken@kenivy.com. All right. I really appreciate you coming back for this replay. I really appreciate your time and dedication toward making your business better and finding out how you can market yourself better. If there's anything I can do for you, let me know. And again, thanks to the Chamber of Commerce for making this possible and getting this message out to all the people that it does. All right. Have a great day. Bye-bye.